Hey guys, it's just Matt here from Henry Shine. Just doing a quick video tonight taking you through Splint Studio, how it works with the Trios scanner, how easy it is to design a splint, and then obviously from there also how easy it is to print out. So obviously once it comes out of the printer, the only thing you need to do is trim up some of the supports, and then after that wash it, cure it, trim up the supports, and then from there give it a polish on a lathe. So cool. So starting off, I'm going to use Trios 4 tonight. So yes, it's night time. I love my work. What can I say? Especially 23rd of December. Cool. So this is our Trios software. So I've gone into my profile here. I've created a new case, which is this one. So I'm just going to double click onto it. You can either double click there or you can click up here. I'm going to click on the upper and I'm going to hit Appliance. So this is Splint Studio. So I'm going to choose Splint. These are the materials that we can choose from. For us, it doesn't really matter what material. It's going to produce, whatever material that we like. It's going to give us the same output for the splint. So Splint, just a generic PMMA. So when we go in now to start scanning, we click on the Scan tab, or we can come up here and hit Next. Scanner is now ready, so now it asks us to scan the lower, so I'm going to do that. So I could have scanned that actually a fair bit faster there, but that gives you an idea. I might just go and pick up that little area. Alright, once again we can do a trim. 2mm, that's fine. My child talking in their sleep. Sorry team. Cool. That's so embarrassing. I really should have cleaned my teeth before I did this. Now we're going to go in and do our bite. It's one side. Second side done. Now I'm going to, after I do both sides, I'm just going to click on clearance. Make sure I've got pretty even contact across the board, which I do. If I wanted to tick this adjust for contacts, it will close my bite, so it's going to try and give me more. It'll close it down on the Z-axis, which is straight down. So I don't need to. I can add in a motion scan as well. So if I come in a motion scan, so that's now going to save that, and obviously we can use that. That's only available on a Trios 3 or a Trios 4, but from here we'll post-process, and once we post-process we can then start to design our splint. So that is the scanning done. So that gives you an idea. As I said, I went over the upper scan just a little bit more than what I needed to there. So in general, I know that when I have tried to do a scan incredibly fast and everything's gone well, I've done it in 30 seconds on my upper. So it's pretty quick and easy to do. So the post-processing, this stage that we're just about to go through, is essentially creating it from a 3D scan and converting it into a file. So it's actually a shape for us to design on. So after we've done our scan, we can come in and come into the Splint Studio software. So first thing that the software is going to do is ask you machine. So this is a machine I would choose all day every day, the Asiga, and the material is a Keystone Splint Soft. So we do what the software says here. So we're going to click 1, 2, 3. That's going to set up our occlusal plane. We're going to go next. From here, we're going to choose that we want minimum thickness. Let's make it 1.3 mil thick, and we're going to open it up. If whatever thickness you want your splint to be will depend on how thick it's going to open up there. Once we've opened it up to as far as how thick we want the splint, we can lock the jaw and occlusal space. Okay, so let's just go a couple up. Okay, and we'll cool. Lock it in, Eddie. You can also play the articulator and see what it looks like in there as well. Next, it's just a path of insertion. So it's telling the software our path of insertion. It's done that pretty well. We're all good. I'm going to hit, if there's a little, let's bring that. So upper jaw has a little tunnel. Jaw scan. If there's any little like micro holes or anything like that in the scan, the software is going to fix it, just like what it did there. I'm going to hit next. Wax trimming. So if we wanted to, in this material, I'm going to want to engage in almost everything that's there because it's an awesome material. If you wanted to, you can add in some material. So let's say if you wanted to make that larger and create a little bit of a bit of space there so that the splint doesn't sit flush on that. So if I use my slice tool, you can see that I've created a little bit of a space. We'll just undo it. We don't need it. That's fine. Next. So from here, what we do is the blue area here is letting us know like undercuts and whatnot and where they are. So you can use that as a guide to where you want to take your splint. Now this is relative to your path of insertion as well. And with the splint also, oh, that's horrible. You can either do it by left clicking, or you can like doing individual clicks, or you can hold it down as well. So software does a pretty good job either way you want to do it. If there's any areas now that you wanted to patch up or change, modify it, you can just go along and say, hey look, I want to take that there, or over here I want to take that up around there. So you can pick and choose where you want your splint to go to. You can also do individual clicks, or you can add in sections like what I just did before, something like that. Looking across the front, if you want to make sure that that's nice and even, obviously that's going to give you a slightly nicer front to your splint. And from here, I'll fix that there, and I'll just fix that there. So I feel like we're going to engage in undercuts pretty nicely here. That's fine. So you can adjust how big of an area gets moved as well, depending on this, and you can adjust thicknesses and whatnot. But when you're choosing a material, it's generally preset for that material, so you don't have to do too much to be honest. So we're going to go next. So we can choose, let's say, or depending on your splint, you can choose flat plane there to there. You can then choose a ramp from there to there. Cool. After that's done, it's going to generate our splint. After this splint is generated, we'll play on our articulator. There we go. So now that that's made, what I usually do, the first thing I do is I go smooth. So it depending on how thick you've made your splint in the software. If you make it a little bit thicker, then you don't get some of that. Let's just make that a little bit more aggressive and size up. Cool, and then I'll just use add. So to get rid of that kind of line through there, and then I'm going to smooth it off again. Alright, so once we have done that, I'm pretty happy with that. All in all, that's pretty good. Now what we can do, we can use our articulator. You can hit play. So these are all of our excursion movements. You can see where our canines sit and certain movements there. So if you wanted to, you can hit play, and that's going to adjust our splint down now. So the next thing I do after I hit play, I just run a quick smooth over everything, just like so. Maybe I'll just add just a little bit more over there. Not much, but just enough. There we go. What we can do now, hit play again. And then we're going to adapt design. So it'll trim a little bit more off, yet it's a little bit smoother now. So now we're getting pretty nice contact across the board. So one thing that you can do from here, if you wanted to, obviously we can bring in the lower a little bit. You can see where our canines are. So we can add a little bit of canine guidance in that area. You can either do that, or you can grab using this morph tool, use a free form, make the size larger. Let's say if that's my cusp there, I might maybe say I want to pull and create a little bit of guidance there. This is my cusp here. I'm going to pull, give myself a little bit of guidance there. So I've got canine guidance there now. If you wanted to cross-check that, we hit play. You can see we're literally grinding over there. Now, I don't want to adapt the design now, so I'm going to keep that so that we've got our guidance, but obviously we got the heavy points there and there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the wax knife, reduce that down in size. That's fine. So now, I clicked the side button on my mouse, I'm a goose. Coming back, so now when I hit play, I can see I've got nice canine guidance on my cusps there. If I wanted to as well, I can also use this tool here to paint there to there, paint there to there. Now let's go a little bit more. And then I can even come back and hit play, and what will happen is if I've painted those areas and you hit adapt design, it won't change my cusps, it protects them, but it will adjust everything else. So that I've got nice little canine guidance there. You can see right now if I bring my lower back in again, and if I hit, let's bring that back up again. If I hit play, you can see that's literally perfect for canine guidance. Cool. From there, that's all done. There's a little warning, thin design. It's letting us know that it's a little bit thinner it's usually towards the posteriors. That's fine. Hit accept. And from there, we go next and add an ID tag. So we can just go add. Let's go cell. Where do I want that to go? Oh, sorry. You can do it on the inside as well, or you can do it on wherever you like. Let's go for the front because I'm a dork. So you can make it inverted, so you can see there it's inverted now. Let's just go accept. So that's added in. And now what we can do from here, we go next, and it's going to export our splint design. Choose output folder, browse. Let's just go onto desktop and let's just call it splint to print. Cool, splint to print. Select. Cool, generating cam output. So the material that I'll be using for my splint is going to be Keystone Soft. I'm going to open up my asiga composer. I'm going to hit new. I'm going to choose Key Splint Soft, that material. Slice thickness 100 is all we need, 100 micron thickness layer. Okay, done. So once this is coming in here, now I'm going to go into my desktop folder, wherever I put that. Where did I leave it? It's on a different page, splint to print. And today's date is 23rd, so that's that one. And that's my splint there. So I'm going to drag that into my 3D printer. Just hit open. It's going to open up in the middle. Let's enlarge that. I don't want it in that position. I want to rotate this around. So I'm going to spin it around so it's around about in that position there. Bring it higher. And then bring this into the middle of our build platform. Once that's done there, that's pretty good. Maybe depending on angles, let's rock with that. We can now add in our supports. I'll leave everything pretty much all preset there. I'll try it with model inner supports on and hit apply. So you can see there's a couple of areas here that it's added in the supports. I don't really want those supports in there. So what I might do is I might hit Control Z to undo it. Maybe just bring this a little bit more that way. Come back into supports, model inner support, apply. You can see only one there now. Oh, getting so close. We'll just change that one more time. Control Z and tilt a little bit more. Model inner supports. Ah, so close. You know what? Do I need that? Let's just remove support file. It's got to be it now. Alright, model inner support. So that's by doing this, I'm just making sure I'm not getting any supports on the inside of my splint. I just don't want them there. There's my son talking again. I'm going to just add in, if I come back into here, I'm going to add in just add some supports. So I don't need to add in this many, but that gives you an idea of what you can do. If you did want to add in some more, you can add in some flexible ones, some that bend. Cool, that's done. And to give you an idea, printing in that position there, we can hit build and it will start to print. Build time, this gives you an idea. So it's going to be material rate, let's just call it, what are they, 715. Not that much. So $17 a splint on this one to print off. So it depends on how thick you make your splint. Obviously it also depends on how many supports you've got. So if I were to, let's go remove support file and print it that way and add in my supports now. Oh, sorry. Apply. So there's going to be less supports here now. Let's just add in a few more. Cool. Close. So that's now added in. I could have added one more in there, but if we hit adjust now, 715, you can see the prices come down because I've got less supports. So you can cross-check this as well because this is more upright now. We can cross-check it to see if we did update supports with model inner support, if it was going to add in any supports internally. And you can see, yeah, it is. But once again, if we drop this down most probably to 25, let's make it 35 and apply. Slash. So every mouth is going to be different when it comes to splints. I would say I'd go back as far as there. So that's fine. So sometimes you can have them straight up and down with minimal supports needed, depending on, you know, what the fitting surface is going to be like. And then, did it say how long it was going to take? Estimated build time, because I'm not plugged into a printer, it's not going to let me know. Let's hit play. It's not plugged into a printer, so it's not going to give me a build time. Generally, it's anywhere in between, depending on your orientation of this and also height. So if I had this sitting down there, it's going to print faster. If I had this printing flat, it would print faster. If I had it straight upright, it will print slower. Generally, on this key splint soft, because it's a clear material, it takes a little bit longer to print. So 1 hour to 4 hours, roughly, depending on orientation, slice thickness, and all that. And then that's it. That's pretty much all. How you go from scan, design, print, and then obviously this most probably could be down as little as like 10 to 15 minutes if I wasn't waffling. Now, as I said, from here, when it comes out of the printer, you then wash it in some IPA. After it gets washed in IPA, that you would then cure it in a light box. After it gets cured in the light box, then you would trim up the supports and polish it, and then it's good to go in the mouth. And the people that are using that key splint stuff aren't adjusting it in the mouth, like it just fits it perfectly. And the reason why, this is a material here, so as you can see, this is it in my mouth. You can hear that snap, snaps beautifully, fits perfectly in the mouth. Now this is really cool properties. I'm going to hit pause and I'm going to come back with some hot water. Alright, so from here, this is my splint, as you saw. Now this is room temperature. I love that click. So that's room temperature. So you can see where I've taken my undercuts there, and that's using all the settings that I did in that printer, in the 3Shape software just there. Now, if you had someone with quite aggressive undercuts or whatnot, you can. Now this is boiling hot water straight out of my kettle. Put it in boiling hot water. I'd suggest you generally aren't going to need boiling hot water, just, you know, warm water is going to be fine. Now, once that's done and it heats up a little bit, I'll just let a little bit more heat get into it, and then that should be fine. Yowza, that's hot. So, this is our splint. It goes around on itself. I'm now going to put our splint in cold water with an ice cube. I should have given this a tap as well before I did this. Hard. I could even, oh no, I just spilled water on my keyboard. Test it out. Still together. Throwing it. My wife would not be happy. That is a really great material. It's really hard. Like you can see, it's just got a little bit of flex about it when it's cold. But it's actually quite a hard material. Like it's hard like a normal hard splint. So I'm going to put this back in my hot water. So because when you're doing thermoforming and doing a suck down of a splint, because its original shape is flat, you heat it up and then you pull it down and then it's fine. If you put heat into it again, it starts to warp back because it's got memory and it wants to go back to where it originally was. So the good thing about this splint material is because it's got memory for its original position that it was printed at, means that the material is going to go back to its original shape and size. So now that I've had that in the hot water just for that little bit, it's gone back to its original shape. I'm just going to cool it off in my ice water. So that's hard. Maybe cool it down just a little bit more because there's still a little bit of warmth in that. And then back on my model. I most probably could have heated it up a little bit longer. I'll heat it up a little bit longer just so that it goes out to its full extent. You can also, like if I were to pull that out now, I can test it on the model. So I can then come in here, fit that back down on the model. Now I know that that's in its right position. I'll pull that off, put it back in here. Let that cool off just one more little bit. There we go. So that's still just got a little bit of, there we go. It's got a little bit of ply in it now than what it did before because I have put it in the warm water and it's not 100%, it's warmer now than what it was before. But yeah, back on the model. It's an incredible material. Everyone that's using this material is absolutely loving it. And you'll not go wrong using this material. And as I said, it's really awesome on difficult cases where you've got large undercuts and whatnot. It's really forgiving. So, cool. That's my video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Gives you an idea on the scanner with the Splint Studio and the printer software, as well as the material that I would be using if I were you. And as I said, generally splint cost, depending on how thick you make them and how you orientate them, supports, it's going to be anywhere in between maybe $10 to $20 in your total costs, in material costs to make a hard splint like that. And as I said, the guys that are doing it, they're clipping in and they're not adjusting them and spending time in the chair at all. Thank you, enjoy, and Merry Christmas. Catch ya, bye.